Thunderfist 1978 coming at you here on Throwback Thursday. Hope everybody's having a great day today. So, I announced earlier in the week that our Throwback Thursday game for tonight was going to be P-47, the Freedom Fighter. Well, that was before I found out that this game right here, Kangaroo, was this week's Arcade Archives game. I just had to go with this one. I have a lot of fun memories playing this one. And if you want an idea how popular this game is, or was back then at least, this game was actually featured in the cartoon block Saturday Supercade back in 1984 to 1985. This is one of those games. Yes, it is a Donkey Kong knockoff, if you will, but it's one of the few that really doesn't completely clone Donkey Kong's design or its gameplay. So, as I found out earlier, and I kind of expected this, the U.S. version is not in this game. Is not in the Arcade Archives port. It looks like it's just the Japanese version, which that's okay, because the NES or NES, Nintendo console nothing. This game was released by Atari here in the U.S., and the only consoles it got a release for back in the day were the Atari 2600, 5200, and the 8-bit family of computers. Other than that, the only way you could play this was to find it in an arcade. And the first place I can remember playing this game was at a laundromat in the small town that I lived in, which had just a little over 3,600 people in the 1980 census. So we're going to go ahead and get started with Kangaroo. This one is going to be a blast. The only difference that I can really tell between the U.S. and the Japanese versions of this game is the U.S. version may not have music. And also, you notice how when you rescue the Joey, his word is, or his speech is spelled out in katakana. Oops. But yeah, his speech is spelled out in katakana, but he says mama. Whereas in the US version, he says mom. But that's one of the very few differences I've noticed between this version and the US version. The other being that this version, as you can hear, it has music that plays during the levels. I think the U.S. version may not have music. I know the few Kangaroo cabinets I've seen in the last few years didn't play music. So I don't know if it was an issue with the cabinet itself, or what's more likely, because, oh dear, we got our gloves stolen. So apparently that's what happens when you take too long in this game. The glove-stealing ape comes out. That's not the only thing that triggers him. In some stages, he's just there by default. So as you can see, the objective is to get to the top and rescue Joey, who has a blindfold on. But instead of simply jumping over dangers, your Kangaroo has boxing gloves that she can use to punch the monkeys, and as you saw earlier, any apple cores that they throw. And if you get your gloves stolen, then you're defenseless, because her hands, as you can see, are not big enough to attack. And if you push the punch button when you don't have the boxing gloves, instead she just sticks her hand out and there's a white flag in her hand. So as you can see, it's pretty much the the same sort of stage here, but the layout is considerably different. And there's 100. Let's ring the bell. And we weren't able to get any fruit that time. Huh! We already got a trophy for 10,000 points. Surprised one came so early. So in this stage, you have to keep punching the monkeys so that they lower the cage. And each monkey takes multiple punches to knock out. And you want to keep the other monkeys from getting over to reinforce them. But again, as soon as you get up to the cage, the stage is over. And this is the last level in the set of levels. I'm not sure exactly how you'd refer to that. Oh! Accidentally held up for too long there. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. She can't fall very far at all. And we got a trophy for registering a score on the online scoreboard, which that's something that's pretty standard for Arcade Archives games. You know, even if you had Donkey Kong around, if you wanted to play a game of that style but didn't want to play the exact same game, this was a great game to go to. I mean, I still have a soft spot in my heart for this game, and I was so excited when it got announced. So, another reason that I think the US version may not be a part of this port is because the US version's release was handled by Atari here in the US. But this is not an Atari game. It was actually made by Sunsoft, or Sun Electronics as it was called back then. Oh, excuse me. Should have waited there. So as you can see, every time you ring the bell, it causes more fruit to appear. And if the fruit is thrown on an even plane to where you're standing, then well, the apples, I should say, if they're thrown to an even plane on where you're standing, then you can go. See, that's what happens if you press punch without the boxing gloves. So you don't want that large monkey stealing your gloves. So, what about P47? Oh, we're definitely gonna get to that one, but it's gonna be a few weeks because I have an announcement to make as we near the end of the stream about what's gonna go on with Throwback Thursdays for the next few weeks. All right, cool. I don't think so. Okay, so as long as you don't step off the edge, you can jump off if you won't fall too far, and you're safe. So, what's the deal with my naming the stream what I did when I said no monkey business today? Well, it's not just a joke off the fact that your enemies are monkeys in this game. It's also a nod to the cartoon I mentioned earlier. So Saturday Supercade, for those of you who either weren't alive back in that portion of the 80s or just don't remember it, it was a cartoon block that lasted about an hour every Saturday. Oops. And it consisted of 4 cartoons that were 15 minutes long apiece, roundabout. And in the first season, the cartoons featured were Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Frogger, Pitfall, and Q*bert. Yeah, as you can see, this game is pretty heavy on the scan lines. I mean, this is 1982 after all. So we just game over. Excuse me. Game overed again. So, okay, so I just mentioned the cartoons that were available back during the first season, which aired from 1983 to 1984. And during that season, you got Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., and Frogger every week. Pitfall and Q*bert would alternate from week to week. Like one week you would get a Pitfall Harry cartoon, one week you'd get a Q*bert cartoon. But every week you would get Frogger, Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong Jr. Curse that monkey up there, I swear. If he does not quit directly dropping apples on us. Like heck, he's gonna stop though. So, when Saturday Supercade went to their second season in 1984, they kept Donkey Kong, and Q*bert went from being a bi-weekly segment to a weekly segment. So every week you got Donkey Kong and Q*bert. The rest of them were done away with, and they were replaced with Space Ace and Kangaroo. And the Space Ace cartoon, by the way, is nothing compared to the animation you get in the arcade game, because we're talking. I think Ruby Spears did the Saturday Supercade cartoons. Compare that to Don Bluth, who animated the original Laserdisc game, not only for Space Ace but also for Dragon's Lair as well. Oh, jeez. Give me that strawberry. Son. There's really no point in ringing the bell because we won't be able to pick up the fruits that pop up. So, in the Kangaroo cartoon, it takes place in a zoo. I forget the name of the zoo, but the stars of the cartoon are Katie the Kangaroo, which is the mother. I don't think she's ever named in the arcade game, so Katie just happened to be a name that Ruby Spears came up with, from the looks of it. Holy jeez! I just dropped all the apples. There's a reason to not stick around and worry about knocking all the monkeys out. So as you've seen, you can punch a monkey before he gets into the stack and knock him out with one punch like normal. But once he's in the stack, it's going to take several hits to knock him out. So basically, Katie and Joey's main nemesis in the Kangaroo cartoon were of course the monkeys, but they were called the Monkey Business Gang. So my stream title is not simply a joke off the fact that that monkeys are the nemesis in this game. It's also a reference to the cartoon on Saturday Supercade, because the Monkey Business Gang. And as you've been hearing, Oh Susanna plays quite prominently in this game. I'm not sure what this other song is that's playing, but this other song seems to be what's absent in the US version. I'm not sure why that's out, because Oh Susanna does play in the US version. And also the song that plays between levels also plays in the US version. It seems like only the song that plays during the levels is absent. And I'm not really sure why that is. Because I'm pretty sure it's a song that's either original or is in the public domain. I believe it's a public domain song, but the title escapes me at the moment. I don't think so. Oops. Should have remembered. You cannot step off a platform in this game, because if you do, it's lights out. Because she cannot take any falls. I mean, I would think one of the other falls we took, matter of fact, maybe even that one, I don't think even the Spelunker in the game Spelunker dies that easily from a fall. Uh-oh. Woo! We made it right as the apples were all being dropped. Son. So as you can see, this level is considerably trickier. Oh! And that's game over. We will get this, folks. We will get to the second set of levels. This is a game I really wish I saw more places. The three places that I definitely, without question, remember seeing this game were at the laundromat in the original town that I lived in. Well, the town that I lived in from about 1981 to about 86. Like I said, it was a pretty small town. Had somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,600 people. And so we had a Kangaroo at that laundromat. And then I remember also seeing one at a shop in 2006. The shop sold comic books, figures, board games, even a few video games. But, you know, mostly vintage collectibles from the 70s and 80s, and even further back than that. Well, in the basement of the shop, he had a number of arcade games, and this was one of the ones that was there. That was the time that I realized that that in the Atari version of this game, the stage theme does not play. like I said, I'm not sure why that is. I just know that it is that way. I don't think so. Hey, Catman! Thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and welcome to tonight's stream where we're playing Kangaroo. Whoa! Mr. McJeezy. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Chrono Gerbil, thank you for the raid. Mike 7A, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. It's great to have everybody here. So, for those of you who are not familiar with this game, Man in the Box, great to see you. How's it going? So, for those of you who aren't familiar with this game, as you can see, it's a Donkey Kong knockoff, but it's a very, very well done one. And this game was popular to the Crypto Romix. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I'm trying there. Jaguar! Man, everybody's here tonight. This is awesome. Thank you guys for coming. So, if you're not familiar with this game, it actually got its own Saturday morning cartoon back in 1984. Toro, okay. Awesome. Crazy Eddie, welcome to the stream. Great to see you. So, I don't know, does anybody here remember the cartoon block from the early to mid 80s called Saturday Supercade? Well, if so, this game was featured in one of the cartoons. Let's see, hold on. Give me just a moment here. Mr. McJeezy and Crazy Eddie 1369, thank you both very much for the follows. No, this is not Circus Charlie music. But, this is some kind of, public domain song. I can't think what the title is. Why do you want to punch poor Katie Kangaroo? Come on, really? Well, at least that's what they call her in Saturday Supercade. So, let's see, because he's doing the punching. Well, actually, it's a mama kangaroo. And, yeah, and see, it really comes out when you're playing the US version, which sadly is the Punch the Kangaroo too. Man, Katie the Kangaroo's just getting hated on tonight. So anyhow, it is a mother kangaroo, and Katie is the name they call her in Saturday Supercade. She's pretty much unnamed in the game itself. I don't think she actually has a name, but here in the US, Atari handled releasing this game. Oh, she lost her gloves. And she just holds out a white flag when she's left without her gloves. Makes me wonder how resources were reused in games back then. That's a good question. So we just got a trophy for getting 20,000 points. I'm guessing the next trophy either comes at 40,000 or 50,000. This game was released in 1982. It was a year after Donkey Kong. And it's one of the few Donkey Kong type games that didn't directly copy off the original Donkey Kong. And so as you can see, let's see, Chrono Gerbil, thank you for the follow. Just now saw that. Really appreciate it. I agree. Yes, Retro Man, thank you for showing up tonight. I agree. This is a game I really, really loved when I was a kid. I can remember, see, when I was growing up, I lived in a small town when I was about 3 to 8 years old that had about 3,600 people according to the 1980 census. And there were 2 laundromats in the town, and one of them had this game. That was the first place I remember seeing it. Never heard of this game. Okay, so in the U.S., this game's release was handled by Atari, but the actual creator of this game was Sunsoft. They were going by Sun Electronics at the time. See, another arcade game I love is Mappy. Oh my gosh, yes. You can't go wrong with anything Namco, pretty much. I remember seeing a Mappy back in like the early 90s, I think, but I didn't get to play it. But I remember seeing that oversized marquee. Yeah, Mappy is great. And I also remember seeing... remember I told you about a laundromat in the small town where I grew up that had this game? Well, years later... Tapper's great too, yeah. Williams is another company that didn't have a whole lot of stinkers back then. My gosh! Can you knock it off with the apples? Give me some breathing room. So the reason I called this stream No Monkey Business tonight, it's not just a reference to the monkeys you're fighting in this. It's also a reference to the Saturday Supercade segment where the mama kangaroo... Yes, they do. If you notice, some of the apples they throw aren't full apples, they're cores. But in the cartoon, their nemesis, the monkeys are present again, but they're called the Monkey Business Game. And so I was... the title of the stream is a reference to the Saturday Supercade cartoon. And so basically what was going on with Saturday Supercade, it was 1983. The video game crash either was just starting or hadn't taken effect just yet. And the first video game cartoon had already come out. It was a Pac-Man cartoon that Hanna-Barbera had done, which aired from 1982 to 1984. Well, in 1983, Ruby Spears got the idea to do a whole block of video game cartoons. So for the first season, there were 5 games that were featured. And basically, it would always air 4 cartoons that were 15 minutes long apiece. And during the first season, you always got Donkey Kong Jr., and Frogger every week. Oh, dear. I didn't handle that jump right. So you got Donkey Kong Jr., and Frogger every week. The other cartoon alternated from week to week. One week it would be a Pitfall Harry cartoon. Another week it would be a... what was the other one? I always have a hard time remembering the other one. It was Q*bert. How could I have forgotten Q*bert, man? I love the Pac-Man cartoon. Bringing my Pac-Man plush to kindergarten show and tell. Nice! I don't even think they have show and tell at school anymore. That kind of sucks. Guess you can make some apple pie. Oh my gosh! Are you nuts? You can make the world's biggest apple pie with all those apples. Come on! So there's a county where out where I live where they brag about how big an apple pie they can make. Oh wow, I didn't realize we were in level 2. I guess I thought we game overed already. So anyhow, let me get my bearings straight here. So during the second season of Saturday Supercade, I don't think so, pal. Let's get Joey and get out of here. So you notice how he's saying mama in katakana. In the Atari version, he says mom instead in English text. So that's pretty much a dead giveaway that this is a mama kangaroo and not a daddy kangaroo. Oh, geez. Well, it's game, but highest score we've gotten yet since we've been playing on stream tonight. Okay. So for the second season of Saturday Supercade, they took away Pitfall Harry, Frogger, and Donkey Kong Jr. Donkey Kong stayed on, and Q*bert went from a bi-weekly segment to a weekly segment. And then the other 2 cartoons that replaced the ones I mentioned were Space Ace and Kangaroo. Space Ace, by the way, is nowhere near as well animated as the game because Don Bluth had nothing to do with it. Oh, thank you. Thanks for the GG. Yeah, this game's kind of hard to score high in, but I love it dearly. I have such a soft spot for this game, and I was really, really excited when I found out that it got an Arcade Archives release. So glad that Sunsoft decided to get on board with Arcade Archives. The only other game I know of by Sunsoft that's part of the Arcade Archives lineup is a game called Route 16, which I had never even heard of until it came to Arcade Archives. I'm hoping eventually that that Arabian will get released. That's another one that that Atari put out here in the U.S. I'm not sure if Route 16 got a release in the U.S. or not, but I remember there again, the same small town that I mentioned earlier, the one I grew up in. I went back there in 1998. They've got a popular tavern there, and they had an Arabian machine. First place I ever saw it. And I'm a pretty big fan of that game now, too. So I mentioned that I first saw this game at a laundromat. Well, years later, I went back to that laundromat in 2003 because I was in that town for work. Don Bluth was behind a couple of my favorite animated films, Land Before Time, Oliver and Company. Yeah, and you know, you got to realize too, he was also a Disney artist before he went on his own. So, oh yeah, absolutely, terrific movies. Retro Gambit 215, thank you for the follow. I just now saw it. So yeah, it's kind of a shame Don Bluth wasn't able to get on board with the cartoon, but that just means that it's not as well animated as the Laserdisc game. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew this, but there was also, and good music, McLeasy, Oliver and Company especially, yeah. One that really comes to mind when I think of Oliver and Company is the song "Why Should I Worry," which was sung by Billy Joel. My gosh, I remember going to see that movie twice in theaters. Loved it. The soundtrack and everything. Oh yeah, and another Don Bluth movie. Let's not leave out An American Tail or All Dogs Go to Heaven. Those are both classics in their own rights. Yeah, An American Tail. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. But yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't on board with the cartoon, so you just don't get the same quality animation that you... Was Oliver and Company before he left Disney? I think it was, because I think that was a Disney movie. Okay, I like Fievel Goes West. Let's see. That's my fave. I got that street savoir faire. I need to go back and watch that movie again. I don't think I've seen Oliver and Company since the 80s, but I do remember. You know, one game I would like to play on stream when I get the proper equipment to stream retro consoles is Fievel Goes West for the SNES, which I have a cartridge of. That game's a really fun platformer. Well, I say platformer, but it's a shooter too. Oh, jeez. But, yeah, I'll be honest, I wasn't as big a fan of Fievel Goes West as I was the original American Tail. Although I do like Tiger's line of "What's the matter?" of "Cat got your tongue" when he grabbed the dog's tongue. That was pretty funny. Saw the movie, but never saw the game. Yeah, it's that one was released by Hudson Soft back in back in 1993. I've owned the cartridge since about 1999, I think. And I got it with the box, but not with the book. Another game based off a movie was Lion King. Oh, yeah. That's another one I've been thinking about playing on stream. Because right now, I only have the equipment to stream PS4 and Xbox One. But I do have the Lion King and Aladdin collection, so that one is certainly doable. Although I have to admit, I like the SNES Aladdin a lot better than the Genesis Aladdin. A lot of people would disagree with me on that, but that's just my personal preference. And hey, Capcom did that one. Can't go wrong with Capcom. Let's see. It's amazing. Somewhere out there. Oh, yeah. Super Genesis, which... To be honest... I'm almost leaning to the Genesis version of Lion King, because the SNES I usually like the music on their chip better, but I think the Genesis did the better rendition of "I Just Can't Wait to Be King." I like Super Aladdin better than Sega Aladdin. Is that what you're asking about, Retro Mang? As far as the fact that I prefer the SNES Aladdin to Genesis? Well, they took my temperature at work this morning and said I didn't have a fever, so there's your answer. The art in the Genesis Aladdin is really good, but SNES game is better. Yeah, the gameplay is what makes me go to the SNES Aladdin. Plus, I mean, my gosh, they did such a good job with the music in that game. I mean, it's cool to hear Prince Ali in the Genesis version, but the SNES did such a great job with You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me. And that whole level is so much fun to play. God rest his soul. Robin Williams is the main reason that's my favorite Disney movie of all time. Genie Aladdin and the Super one. Oh, yeah. That level can be aggravating, but not only is the gameplay itself fun when you get down to it, the genie has some hilarious expressions when you die in that. Yeah, it sure is. My gosh. But yeah, it's so funny to die in that level and just have the genie just sit there like, oh, this jaw all the way to the floor. Aladdin is my favorite Disney movie. Awesome, yeah. There are some really great Disney movies out there, but I mean, Aladdin is my favorite because, oh yeah, Robin Hood's a great one too. I guess the reason Aladdin's my favorite is because that's the first movie where they really had a lot of humor, and that really appealed a lot to me at the time. Let's see. Jungle, while the kids are away, welcome to the stream. How's it going? Jungle Book's another great one. Matter of fact, there's a lady who that I work with who calls me Baloo because I sang one of Baloo's songs one time, so I've called her Little Britches a time or two, even though she's older than me. Never beat Jungle Book. I've never played the Jungle Book games. What all systems were those released for? I know the NES version was one of the last ones that was released for that system. And I know there were games released for other systems. I just can't think what all systems those were. Okay, so the SNES was that the only other one? Was it just NES and SNES? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Looks like we tied our high score. Be interesting to see if we can get that last score trophy. That's what I'm shooting for. I'm thinking it comes at either It comes at either 30, 40, or 50,000. I'm assuming 40 or 50,000 at this point, because the next trophy is a gold trophy. I'm not sure what the high score for this game is at the Galloping Ghost. They've got some scoring monsters there, I'm telling you. And a couple of them really like to play Kangaroo a lot. Christopher Lloyd was... Did Christopher Lloyd voice act in a Disney movie? If so, which one was that? I must have missed that one. Either that or somehow I didn't recognize his voice, which I don't know how that would have happened, because it's hard to mistake his voice. Well, now that I think about it, yeah, he was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I forgot about... Oh, yeah, Angels in the Outfield. I forgot that was a Disney movie. Yeah, I have seen that. I thought you were saying he voice acted in one of the animated movies. You know, I've seen he's done a couple of Comic Cons. It would be really cool to meet him someday. I would probably talk to him about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I think that was the first movie he was ever in. And I would want to talk to him about that because I was in a stage production of that one time, back in 2012. I used to be a stage actor, and the only reason I don't still do it is because my work doesn't work with my rehearsal schedule anymore. Favorite Disney movie is Angels in the Outfield. As far as their live-action movies go, it's really hard for me to pick a favorite. I really like First Kid, which stars Sinbad. Matter of fact, my mother actually said she saw Timothy Busfield, who played the bad guy in that movie, at a restaurant some years later, and I went to one of Sinbad's stand-up shows in 2016 and actually got roasted by him, which was an honor. Let's see, and then, okay, so while we're on the subject of Disney movies, I'm going to go ahead and make my announcement. So I mentioned earlier, I think this was before the raid earlier, but I was going to make an announcement on what my Throwback Thursday games are going to be in the coming weeks. Next week's Throwback Thursday game is going to be Tron, the original arcade Tron. So hopefully some of you will come back for that. That one's sure to be a great time. That's another game that I wish I saw more often these days. Because whenever you do see it, I mean, how can you pass playing it? Unfortunately, yes! Yeah, that's certain to be a... light bikes are a good time. You got that right. And the week after that, we'll visit the arcade sequel, which is Discs of Tron. If anybody here hasn't played that one is a one-on-one battle between Tron and Sark. They basically fight each other with discs. And as I understand, that was originally planned to be a stage in the original Tron arcade game, but they couldn't fit it in because of memory constraints. Oh my gosh, yes, the movie is amazing. And as a plus for me, I've actually met two of the actors from the movie. I met Cindy Morgan, who I forget what her character's name was, but I think she played Tron's love interest in the movie. The plan for Fisticuffs Friday, that's going to be the arcade Double Dragon, as we agreed last time. And then the following week, we're going to go over Double Dragon 2. And then after that, we're going to go to some S&K fighting games. We haven't touched anything S&K related yet. And I'd like to kick off the SNK, yeah, we haven't done anything SNK yet. Well, we've done their classic arcade games, some of them in this channel, but we haven't touched any of their Neo Geo stuff. So that's what we're gonna start doing after Double Dragon. I gotta watch that. Never seen the Double Dragon arcade game. Yeah, the arcade game. You know, that got so much started in the beat 'em up genre. It wasn't the first beat 'em up, but I like to think that's the game that made them popular. Because when Renegade came out in the U.S., that one just didn't catch on. Although it did catch on in Japan and Europe. And actually, I held the world record of Renegade briefly on arcade hardware. Oh, gloves must have appeared, and I didn't see them before I picked them up. After the big monkey takes your gloves, sometimes gloves will appear in the stage again, and if you pick them back up, then you're able to punch again. But without gloves, you are defenseless, and you better up your dodging game if you want to survive at that point. So when we get into the SNK fighters, we're gonna start with Art of Fighting 1, because that's the game that canonically starts the whole what's come to be known as the Fatal Fury storyline. It all started with the first Art of Fighting. So I want that to be the first one we cover. And basically the story behind that is, if you have not played Art of Fighting, but you have played King of Fighters, odds are you're going to know these characters, because King of Fighters unites characters from all over the place as far as SNK's library goes. So basically, the stars of the game are Ryo Sakazaki and Robert Garcia. And at some point, Ryo's mother, Ronette, was killed in a car accident. And then, at least I think it was a car accident, or else somebody murdered her. And, I don't know, the SNES version tells a different story, and it really gets me confused sometimes. But anyhow, so eventually Ryo's father, Takuma, who later becomes Mr. Karate, takes off as well, and he takes off to like chase after somebody that had something to do with Ronette's death or something. And so basically Robert is left to help raise or help take care of Ryo and his sister Yuri, who also happens to be Robert's love interest. Well, eventually Yuri gets kidnapped, and that's what sets off the events of the first Art of Fighting game. They have to rescue Yuri from the clutches of Mr. Big and his cohorts. And then from there, it leads into the storyline involving Geese Howard. And then later on, leads into the events that set off Fatal Fury. Which, of course, we will touch on Fatal Fury as well. I mean, we just cannot have a fighting game day, or a day when we look at fighting games, and not touch on Fatal Fury. Now can we? But yeah, we'll have a lot of other SNK games to look at too, like the World Heroes franchise, which wasn't quite as big, but it was noteworthy in its own right. And then of course we'll look at some of the King of Fighters games as well. I don't have access to all of them, but I think I've got a few of the originals downloaded, and I do have King of Fighters 14. So we can certainly play that even with my limited equipment. But yeah, we've got a lot of great games coming up on both Throwback Thursday and Fisticuffs Friday. Throwback Thursday, we will eventually get to P-47, the Freedom Fighter. And when we do, I'll tell the story that led me to choose that one as a Throwback Thursday game. And then there was another one I had in mind, and it's not coming to me right now, that I'd like to do after that one. But it's probably going to be an Arcade Archives game, because I grew up playing arcade games. Those are still the ones I like to go to the most. Oh, no, you don't. So, it's, you're kind of pushing it to knock that bottom monkey out. Love going to a home-style family buffet in my hometown where there was World Heroes Samurai Showdown Neo Geo cabinet. Oh, yeah. They're, the Neo Geo cabinets, those were a great concept. It's like the arcade operators loved them because they didn't have to use a lot of floor space to put in several games. They just had to buy one cabinet and that was it. And then the games were really cheap by arcade game standards, like 4 games in one usually or something. Or it could even be more than that. As I understand it, the varieties were 1 game, 2 game, or 4 or 6. From what I understand, though, the 4 slot boards go for quite a pretty penny. Oh, Ease went really well. We had a lot of good chat during that one, as well as going through the game proper. I'm not sure exactly how far along we are story-wise, but we've got like 30% of the forest mapped out. Let's see. Bust a Move, Metal Slug were popular options. Yep, you got that right. And then there's the first Neo Geo game I remember seeing, which was called 8-Man. I don't know how many of you remember that one. But that's one that I never saw again. There was a convenience store in my hometown that had that one. Betting you got a good start on the game. Yeah, I feel like I did. I think, but yeah. So 8-Man is a game. It's based on an anime actually, and what's kind of unique about that game is your character's always running, and it's a lot of fast-paced action. There's a lot of shooter action going on. I don't know how much. Oh, okay. I guess after a time in this version, your boxing gloves come back. I think in the Atari version, you actually have to pick up your gloves, like when they reappear in the level. There are some very subtle differences between this version and the Atari version. But the main ones I notice are the lack of stage music, and also the fact that you get the English text of Joey saying mom instead of the katakana mama like he says in the Japanese version. And like I said, I'm assuming the English version's not on here because of, well, I say English version, but look how much English there is in this. But I'm guessing the Atari release isn't on here because of Atari's involvement. And I don't know how many strings they would have had to pull to get that version, or just how much changing they would have had to do. But there's even more differences in the Atari version of Arabian. Arabian's another game that was made by Sunsoft that was, wow! I don't think I've ever been to the third set of levels in this. That's going to be interesting. I've never seen them throw other monkeys at you. I didn't even know that was something that could happen in this game. We'll see how that goes. So far, we're still just getting apples thrown at us. No. 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 Oh, jeez! I think we were just about to, the next score trophy. Because it's possible it could be 30,000. So 26,900, that's the benchmark we're shooting for right now. So the biggest difference in Arabian, like I was saying, is that in the Sunsoft version, you can't fall to your death. It's like no matter how far you fall, you just never die. Not from falling, anyway. Whereas in the Atari version, you know, you can fall a little ways and not die, but if you start falling a long ways, you'll hear the and then whenever you land, then you go into the death animation. So that's a pretty significant difference, I think, like gameplay wise. Makes that game a little more frantic, I think. And also another game that I actually played competitively, briefly, that Atari handled and that they changed the gameplay in was Fast Freddy, which was called Flyboy in Japan. If any of you have never played that game, it's a game where you play as a guy on a hang glider, and your only method of defense is kicking. Well, in the original Kaneko version, because that's the company that released that game in Japan. It was Kaneko, which is also the company behind games like DJ Boy, Samurai Nipponichi, among other games. But yeah, so in the original Kaneko version, you had this little gauge in the lower right of the screen. I think it was lower right, and it was labeled map, and it showed you how far along in the level you were, as opposed to where you needed to be. Well, in the Atari version, they take that bar away. Well, they take the map away, and they change it to a kick gauge, which means you can only kick so much in the stages before you're left defenseless. So you have to control how much you use the kick. And there again, to me, that makes the Atari version of that game much more frantic. Before I played it at the Galloping Ghost Arcade, I'd never even heard of that game before, but I'm a pretty big fan of that game now. Magician Lord, I played that one on one of the PlayStation collections. I think I first played it on the PS2 SNK Arcade Classics Volume 1. The SNK Arcade Classics, there was never a Volume 2, but it was intended to be all Neo Geo titles. And then eventually they released Neo Geo Arcade Classics 0, which featured all games from before the Neo Geo days. So you had games on that like Ikari Warriors, let's see, Alpha Mission, TNK3, which is known as Tank in Japan, and so on and so forth. I think the fact, I could be wrong on this, but I think the fact that that collection never made it outside Japan, but it was planned to be. And matter of fact, the ESRB actually rated it for the U.S., and they gave it a rating of M because Search and Rescue was in it, and that's kind of a graphic game. But the collection was ultimately never released outside Japan. I think that may be why SNK did their 40th anniversary collection some years later. But then again, maybe that had nothing to do with it. Oh, crap. That's why you don't want to take too long in that level, because they will unleash freaking Armageddon with those apples. And unfortunately, we had to face that. Another thing about Magician Lord, I don't know how many of you remember this show, but Nickelodeon used to have a game show called Nick Arcade. And that was a game that was on there quite a bit. Yeah. You know, if any of the Nickelodeon game show personalities were ever to do, haven't heard of that one. Time Lord, that's an NES game, which was released by Milton Bradley. And I think Rare actually developed that one. Oh yeah, my gosh, man. Nick Arcade, that was one of the staples of my childhood. I watched a lot of Nickelodeon back in the day. Shows like that, Legends of the Hidden Temple. It was a Neo Geo side-scroller action game. Yeah, and contrary to what you might think, as far as check that out. Yeah, it's Magician Lord. I would describe it as a platforming shoot 'em up, because that's kind of what it plays like. You know, certainly the shoot 'em up aspect of it. Ugh. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what they're going to bring out next for Arcade Archives. I've heard talk that Jailbreak may be one of the games released for it. But if they release that one, it's going to have to be censored. Because I don't know how many of you are familiar with that one, but in the first level at least, there's an area. You have to have the tear gas gun to do this, because it involves shooting a sniper in a window. And in that game, the tear gas gun is the only weapon that can take out the snipers. But in the first level, if you take out a sniper, at least at certain areas, then a naked woman will appear in the window. That's one of those things that makes you go, what? Like, why on earth did that just happen? You know, why is she in the window? Why does she have no clothes on? So obviously that's going to be censored, and I believe I know what they're going to do with that if they port it. They'll probably take the same port. Yeah, exactly, right? But fortunately for us, back in 2005. I think it was 2005, 2010, somewhere around there. Now that I think about it, it was 2010, because the Xbox 360 had been out for a while. That was one of the games that was ported to Game Room on the 360, and they kept the woman in the game, but they drew a blue dress on her. So they'll probably just take that port and port that to Arcade Archives. Which I usually am not a fan of censorship in games, but I completely understand that one's got to be done, and I would have no objections whatsoever if they use that, because at least that means more people will be able to enjoy it outside of the arcade. But yeah, other games that have been part of Arcade Archives recently have been games like Sunset Riders. If you've never played that, that is, without a doubt, the best Western video game that has ever been made, and that probably ever will be made. And then, trying to think what else they put out that really got me excited. P-47, I was kind of excited about that one because I'll go ahead and tell you guys the story of this now. The first job that I ever worked at, I was a hotel desk clerk. And our hotel had a couple of video games, and that was one of the ones we had. And I had some good times playing that game when I wasn't working. And so I was really excited when Jalico brought that one to Arcade Archives. That's right, you better climb down that ladder. Oh! And the other game they had at the hotel I worked at was Turbo. This is kind of an unpopular opinion, but I'm a bigger fan of Turbo than I am of Pole Position. Not taking anything away from Pole Position. That game's a classic in its own right. They've always got to be engaging in monkey business, don't they? Well, here we go again. But yeah, Turbo is a game I would love to see Sega release. And for some reason, they haven't. Not sure why that is. I know it's not the fact that it can't be released. Because I read that the last game that Sega made that has no ROMs to it, or no CPU rather. Not so much it doesn't have ROMs, it doesn't have a CPU. And that game was Monaco GP, which was released a year before Turbo. Well, Monaco GP has actually come out on one of the Sega Ages collections that was released in Japan for the Saturn. And I've either got that collection or it's on the other one that I'm intending to get, which is called the I can't remember what that particular collection is called, but there's like 2 Sega Ages volumes that are called the something collection. Can't see it from here, but I've got the disc in the room here with me. And whenever the Polymega comes out, I plan on streaming some Saturn games. The Polymega, if any of you haven't heard about that, that's a system that's coming out. Well, it's been pushed back and it's now slated for release in November. But I have a Retro Freak, and I love the fact that the Retro Freak can back up several different types of cartridge games, like NES, Famicom, Genesis, even TurboGrafx. There's a bunch of different systems whose games can be backed up on the Retro Freak. Well, the Polymega does that too, but it also uses CD games. So you can play PlayStation, Saturn, Neo Geo CD, Sega CD, or even TurboGrafx CD games on it. And like the Retro Freak, it will back up your CD games if you put an SD card in it. So I'm looking forward to backing up as many of my CD games as I can. And there's talk that the Polymega was originally intended to stream natively. I'm not sure if the final product is going to do that because in the process of all the release notes and whatnot, they've said that they took one of the cores of the processor out that was needed for streaming. So it may not be able to do that. But if it doesn't, one of these days I'll get the equipment to stream from it using a computer. And once I do that, oh boy, the games we're going to be enjoying. But yeah, I have like 8 games for the Neo Geo CD, about 2 for the TurboGrafx CD, and a number of games for the, probably around 100 or so for the PlayStation, and a few for the Saturn and Sega CD. And I'm looking forward to streaming, hopefully, a bunch of those. Okay, can you like chill with the apples? Can you just like chill? Is that something you can do? So hopefully very soon we will find out if 30,000 is the next point benchmark for getting a trophy. You just had to throw it low, didn't you? Part of me thought if he threw it low, we might still be able to duck it. But we probably should have just punched. And we would have nailed the apple. So here we go to the third set of levels, and we get to see this hilarious animation of one monkey throwing another one. To throw a monkey of his same size, that monkey's got to be pretty strong. And yet still, they're getting knocked out in one punch by Mama Kangaroo. I'm going to keep calling her Katie, simply because it's like there's a story I read as a kid called Katie No Pocket about a female kangaroo that somehow didn't have a pouch. And plus, the fact that that's the name she goes by in the cartoon, it just makes things easier for me. Don't you even think about it. And your face is ugly, so I just felt like punching it off. Good Lord. These monkeys are like rapid fire here. Look at this. But we bettered our score by about 100 points. I'll certainly take that. 100 is better than nothing at all. Okay, I've got an idea. This might backfire on me, but I'm going to try it. I'm mainly going to do this to boost our score a little bit. Because I know there's a lot of speedrunners here on Twitch. I'm not so much a speedrunner. I play more for completion and for score. I mainly play for score because at the Galloping Ghost Arcade, that's how they gauge records. The time usually comes into factor on games, mostly fighting games, where there's no score. So in those games, it just gauges it mostly by how quickly you completed the game. Or in games where there's no time factor, or where people pretty much aren't expected to complete it. Like a game like Combat Tribes. That's a game I would love to play for Fisticuffs Friday, if it ever comes out on current consoles, is Combat Tribes. But what they do for that one is, in Combat Tribes, your health is measured by a number, which counts down whenever you're attacked. What they do is they take whatever your health is at the end of a stage, and like if you complete multiple stages, they take whatever your health is at the end of the first level, add it to what you have at the end of the second level, and so on and so forth. That's what acts as your score. And I thought that was an interesting way to do it, because that's a game that does not keep track of score at all. It only keeps track of how far you go, and did you beat the game. But that would be a very, very hard game to beat in one credit. But I guess we'll see if they ever put Combat Tribes out on Arcade Archives. That one's a 3-player game, by the way, for anybody who's not familiar with it. It came out in 1990, and the thing that sticks out in my mind the most is the fighting techniques that your character can use. You can do things in that game like slam your opponent's face into the floor or into the ground. You can swing them by their feet and throw them into other enemies. You can slam 2 enemies' heads together. the fighting is kind of brutal in that game compared to most other beat 'em ups at the time. But that's one of the things that makes it memorable. That and the fact that you had 3 different characters. They all fought the same, but their abilities were different. Like you had one that was slow but powerful. You had one that was weak but fast, and then you had the obligatory character that was in the middle of both stats. Although, like a lot of other Japanese games, they give those characters unrealistic heights. I mean, they're not heights that no one has ever reached, but still, they're heights that not too many people reach. Like the character that's weak but fast is 6'9", and I forget how much he weighs. The slow but strong one is 6'11", and then the one who's in the middle of both is 7 feet even. Crazy to think that many people of that size are all on the same team together. But yeah, that's a really fun game, but like I said, it is a really difficult one. I don't think so, dude. Nope. Try again. Come on, Joey, let's get out of here. Ooh, we're at 26,000 already. That little point trick really did the trick. Or that point strategy, I should say. It's less a trick, more of a strategy. I don't think so. Nope, try again. Nope. Nice! We just beat our high score with that. And we don't have far to go before we'll reach our 30,000. We may actually get all the score trophies tonight. That would be so awesome if we pull that off. I don't think so. It's not really safe with their machine gun apple chucking to try that point strategy again. Oh, should have punched. Oh, give me that. So we'll get 200 for every monkey we punch. We need 700 points. Don't you even think about it. Don't you even think about it. All we gotta do is punch one apple. Yeah, we did it! It was 30,000. And now that trophy is mine. The only trophy left to be done in this game is putting up a score on high score mode. Oh man, that feels so good. Thank you, Catman. Thanks for the GGs. Oh, that feels so good. So I'm gonna go ahead and no, I don't. I want to go to the title screen. Thanks, Jaguar. I appreciate it. So we're going to play it in a high score mode now. The only difference is in this one you can see the top scores that everybody has gotten. And also, if you're playing a game where you're able to continue, high score mode does not allow you to continue. So all the scores achieved in high score mode were achieved with no continues. Whereas in the regular mode, the scores that you see could be ones that people continued to get. So this game's just out today. There's no telling how much higher those scores are going to go. But so far today, the highest anybody has gotten is 67,900. See, you jive turkey. So basically, all we have to do here, it doesn't matter how high our score gets. all we have to do is register a score in high score mode, and we'll get that last trophy. I don't mind telling you guys right now, I am a trophy hunter when it comes to PlayStation games. So pretty soon, the big ape that will take away our boxing gloves is going to come out. I want to get a couple of pineapples at least. Those are worth 800 points. And that'll put us on the road to getting our extra life. Which, as you've probably noticed, you only get one extra life in this game, and it's at 20,000 points. And up we go. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. You done tried that already. Give it up. And you... Huh. Maybe we do actually have to get on the scoreboard. But with scores like those, that's not going to be hard. I mean, we know what we need to do already. I just want to hopefully get a score close to what we had earlier. I'm really proud of that 30,000. So yeah, every Arcade Archives release has 2 online scoreboards. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, we got this. Oh, well, we'll have it if we can quit making silly mistakes like that. So it goes strawberry, tomato. I don't know what that berry cluster is supposed to be. I can't figure out what that's supposed to be. I mean, part of me wants to think it's cherries, but I usually don't know cherries to be in a big cluster like that. I don't know. Does anybody have an idea what those might be? Whatever they are, I love seeing them because they're worth 400 points a pop. Give me those 400 points. I don't think so. Ah, you chicken. Ah! Should have ducked. So once we get to the top here and we grab a pineapple or 2, we'll have a little bit of a better score. Hopefully one that will be high enough to get us that last trophy. Usually you don't have to get on the scoreboard to get that trophy. There we go. I'm happy with a score like that. Let's get out of here and go to the next level. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but this has been such a fun stream. I've had a great time hanging out with everybody and playing this game. It's one that really stood out to me as a kid. Okay, I know we're not gonna see all the tomatoes got down too low for us to really safely go after them. But yeah, Sunsoft made another game that I kind of wonder if it's going to get released on Arcade Archives, because it's kind of a track and field style game. Part of me thinks it won't be, because the arcade version of the game is called the Guinness, and they don't have any affiliation with Guinness World Records, which is basically what the game was hinting at. Well, if they ever did, they would have to pay for that license again, and I imagine that would be a pretty expensive license. And I just don't see Sunsoft wanting to pony up and pay for a license like that again. Now the oh geez. Oh, I see how this is now. All we had to do was score high enough to get on the high score screen in the game, which we did that. You need at least 5,000 points to do that. And then caravan mode, that's a mode where it gives you 5 minutes to play and you just try to score as high as you can within that 5 minutes. And that's got an online scoreboard too. There are people in on the versus Castlevania scoreboard. I have no idea how they got some of the scores they got within that short amount of time. Although I do know the world record holder of versus Castlevania. He might be able to shed some light on that. That's a game, basically versus Castlevania. That was part of the Versus series, which had NES games for the arcade. And they were generally more difficult than the NES version. But I managed to beat Versus Castlevania with no deaths. I'm not sure if it was last year, if it was earlier this year. And I told the world record holder that I'm dedicating the video to him because he's a really good friend, just all around great guy. And he said he really appreciated it. And I don't think the One Life Clear is even something he's done. But he said that's one of the few games where you're allowed to point press in when you're going for a record score, because normally the settings he played at least, you only get 5 lives the whole game and you never are able to earn extra lives. So he said as kind of an offset, there's a scoring trick that he uses, and he said for that one game it is allowed. Some games, at least at the Galloping Ghost, they try to discourage people from point pressing really heavily, because they say they want the scores to be earned more by actual skill as opposed to heavy point pressing. Which, unfortunately, a lot of the scores that were set in the 80s were gotten through heavy point pressing. There's at least one score that I'm wanting to take a crack at, like an arcade record, if Galloping Ghost ever gets the game. Not going to reveal what it is at this time, but it's one that I would imagine there's probably at least some people at the arcade that don't even know about it. I mean, it's a very obscure title. It's one I've never seen in the arcade before. And I've only actually played it on Arcade Archives. But over the course of playing it, I looked it up on Twin Galaxies, and they do recognize a record score on arcade hardware. And the record was set back in 1982, which was the year after the game was released. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. So 17,800, that's what we got that game. I'm not going to use that strategy anymore of continually ringing the bell. I'm just going to try to play through as normal and just see how we do. No. Nice. I'm tempted almost to jump over Joey and punch that monkey that throws apples downwards just for good measure. I'm not sure if you can do that, but it sure would be fun to try. Maybe one of these days I'll give it a go and see if it's possible. I'm wanting to say this song that's playing, I can't think of the title, but I seem to remember back in the day, the McDonald's in my area used to have an outdoor playground, and one of the things they had was an electronic carousel that played music. And I believe this is one of the songs that was on it. And it played at least one other patriotic song, and that means I probably should be familiar with the song, but for some reason I can't think of it. Oh, so you get 400 points for every monkey you knock out in the stack. I'll have to remember that. So here we are at level 1, round 4. Like in Donkey Kong, they refer to each set of stages as levels. So that's why I referred to it as such. Oh wow. Yeah, if you so much as like you see where that that really short log right there that has a strawberry on it. If you so much as jump up to that log and then step off it, that's enough to kill you. Well, I didn't think she'd fall that far, but I mean, there are falls that kill her that part of me thinks even the character in Spelunker would be able to take without dying. And from what I understand, Spelunker is notorious for being unforgiving about falling deaths. Okay, so we've been on tonight for just over an hour and a half. I plan to be on for probably about an hour longer. It has been great having everybody here tonight. Thank you all so much for coming. Yeah, we'll pick up some tomatoes. They certainly wouldn't have apples in this game that you can pick up, I wouldn't think. It'd be kind of a slap in the face considering the fact that you're having to dodge and punch so many of them out. Apple Core, Baltimore. Who's your friend? Me. That's a nod to a Disney cartoon from, I'm wanting to say, the 40s. It was a Chip and Dale cartoon that also starred Donald Duck, and that was a running gag in that because it was all about Donald Duck. What played was wanting to gather apples. I guess he had this apple orchard in that cartoon, and he comes to one particular apple and says, "Oh, this one's a beauty." And he turns it over and he sees that a bite's been taken out of it. And when he looks down in the basket, okay, watch what happens if we step off. See that? That shouldn't have killed her. Or what about here? That's ridiculous. I mean, I would think even the character in Spelunker could survive that. But, you know, what do I know? But yeah, so, I'm gonna head out, Thunderfist. Thanks for the gameplay. Till next time. Alright. All right, Jaguar. Thanks again so much for coming in tonight. This has been a really fun stream, and it's been great having you and everybody else. Thanks so much for coming. Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week when we go over Tron. I'm going to be playing that one on my Xbox One because that one was never available for any PlayStation system, at least not the arcade version. Whereas back in the day when Midway put a lot of their games up, Tron was one of the ones that went up, and thank goodness I bought that one before they were all taken down. I bought that one, and I bought discs of Tron before they were taken down. Maybe I can contribute to your fun night. You certainly did, Catman. Oh my gosh, did you ever? I mean, this has been an awesome time getting to talk with new people, have such a fun conversation, and getting to enjoy a game that's that, like I said, I've had a soft spot for ever since I was a kid. I didn't realize I died already. Shows how much I've been paying attention. All right, Joey, let's get out of here. Oh my gosh, it's so great that this game is out now. Yeah, to have Chrono Ragia. I just wanted to show you some. Well, thank you for that. And to everybody in Chrono's group, I hope you like what you've seen tonight. Every Thursday is Throwback Thursday, and we always stream a retro game. It may not always be an arcade title, but I like to do as many arcade titles as I can because those are the games I grew up with. Like when I was a kid, nobody in my family had a gaming console. Nobody was interested in video games at all. I was pretty much the trailblazer as far as that goes. And then after I came around, I got into video games. I got a couple of my cousins into video games, and the rest is history. But yeah, in my family, I was the first one to look at them and say, "Wow, this is fascinating." Because yeah, I remember being like 3-4 years old, going into Kroger, and they had a few games like Pac-Man and Star Castle, and I guess the interaction factor was what really fascinated me so much. Like when you watch TV or watch a movie, you pretty much all you can do is watch what's already playing out. Whereas with a video game, you actually are able to interact with the characters on the screen, and you're able to affect the outcome that they have. And as a kid, that appealed to me quite a great deal. No, I don't think so. Thank you, no. Thank you, no. But yeah, the first game I can remember playing without a shadow of a doubt, could it have been Pac-Man? Certainly could have been. But when people ask me what my first game was, I usually tell them it was Star Castle. Oh, it sure is. Like I said, most of the Donkey Kong type games at the time were just very blatant knockoffs, and as a result of that, weren't very interesting. Even there's a game called Crazy Kong you may have heard of. That was originally a what is it called again? I might buy this. This game is called Kangaroo, and it just came out today on PS4 and Switch. Jay Bud, how's it going? Great to have you. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to our monkey business free Kangaroo gameplay. Yeah, it's an easy title to remember because, well, you play as a kangaroo. But yeah, it's a really interesting piece of info that this game was popular enough that it got a Saturday morning cartoon made about it, even if the episodes were only 15 minutes long apiece. You know, there's a lot of video games that didn't get that, particularly back then because it was in the midst of the video game crash. And after the second season, Saturday Supercade went off the air. And the only cartoon that... Well, see, J-Butt, there's a reason that I named the stream that. And it's not just because we're fighting monkeys in this game. It's because of the cartoon I mentioned. This game got a 15-minute cartoon dedicated to it on Saturday Supercade, and the monkeys in that game, or the monkeys in that cartoon, were called the Monkey Business Gang. So it was a reference to the cartoon as well as to the game itself. Well, I should say the cartoon that is based on this particular game. This would be awesome if we make it to the fourth set of stages. Oh, this is going to be close. This is going to be close. We did it! We cleared the third set of stages. I can't wait to see how chaotic it gets now. He threw a big monkey. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is the Hercules of monkeys. To chuck somebody as to chuck something that much bigger than itself, like it's nothing. I don't think so. No. Oh! Almost hit 40,000. We were just 100 under it. But we improved our score for the scoreboard. Be interesting to see how much higher we climb on placement when this stream is over. I'll be checking that. Thanks, I appreciate it. But yeah, it's video games were that popular back in the early 80s. You know, not only did they have a couple of cartoons made about some of the games, but there was even a game show that was solely about video games that predated Nick Arcade. And all the trivia in that show was strictly about video games. There was no general knowledge trivia to be found there. And that show, for anybody that doesn't remember it, was called Starcade. If anybody doesn't remember that show, this is what Starcade was like. You started off with 5 games on the stage. And 3 of the games would be played during regular competition. Basically, it started off, you would answer a trivia question about a game. I think you only had 2 choices to pick from, so you had a 50-50 shot at getting the question right. And if you buzzed in and got it right, you got to pick the first game that was played. If you buzzed in and got it wrong, then I think the other player got to choose. But then you would pick one of the 5 games to play, and once it was played, that game would then be out of play for the rest of the show. And, no, you don't either. You're not raising that stack any higher. How dare you even think about it? I'll tell you what I got to say about that. Oh, jeez. So, let's see. So, basically that would go on for 3 rounds, and the scores for each game were added up, and that became your score over the entire show. And then whoever had the highest score at the end of the show got to play for the grand prize. And the challenge was you would pick one of the games that was remaining. There were 2 games remaining, and you had to pick one of them to play. And the host would then tell you, I forget what the number of players that played the game whose scores they gauged, but they would say in 30 seconds the average score of these players was this. You have to beat that score. And if you beat the score, then you won the grand prize. And a lot of times it was an arcade game, which was really cool for back then. I mean, just imagine being able to say, I went on a game show and I won my very own arcade game. You know, I remember thinking for a long time that the only places you would find video games were at public venues like you know, grocery stores, restaurants. Because back then, arcade games were just everywhere. But I didn't think people actually had them in their houses. The first time I ever found out that people actually did have them in their houses was watching Silver Spoons. I don't know if anybody remembers that show, but it was a sitcom starring Ricky Schroeder as the main character. He's a boy who went to live with his father, who it turned out was really rich, and among other things, he had, I think it was an asteroids machine. And I remember watching that and thinking, wow, somebody's got an arcade game in their house. And ever since then, so Chris Beans had a random trivia question on stream, and I answered it. So he sent me a SNES copy of Mega Man X. Dude, that's awesome! Congratulations on that. What was the question? I'm curious now. That is so cool. I mean, I like Mega Man X 2 and 3 better, but the first one is still amazing. It's like 1 through 4, I think, were the best ones in that series. Okay, so we're on level 3, and we get to see one monkey chuck one his own size at a kangaroo and get it knocked back at him. I'm starting to think... See, when I remember watching that demo and seeing the kangaroo punch the apple back, I started thinking that was something you could actually do in the game. It doesn't look like you can do that. It looks like it was just a fun animation they put in the game just to have fun with it. And you jive turkey. You just had to throw that one low, didn't you? Cool. No. Okay, cool. I'm glad we actually were able to jump over that. So as long as you don't try to jump over the high apples, you're fine, it looks like. All right. So we're at 31,600. If we can get to 40,000 by the end of this stream, I will be very, very happy. And we were within 100 points, so we know we can do it, folks. We know we can do it. The only question lies in the execution. You can just take a snooze and give me 200 points, thank you. No. Can you knock off the chucking of apples for a while? 34,100, and we're set to score some pretty big points here, since all the monkeys in the tower score 400 points. That's a plus side to having to hit them multiple times. I don't think so. cool. We're 500 points away. I think we're going to get this, folks. I think we're going to get it. No, I think not. Really, dudes? You just had to go there. Mr. Yeti, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. We're playing a bona fide arcade classic tonight, as you can see. If you're not familiar with this one, this is a game that I played as a kid, and really? We were within 100 points and we blew it again. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, I was telling everybody, I grew up in a small town I lived there when I was about 3 to 8 years old. And we had a laundromat that had this game, among other games. That was the first place I remember seeing it. Unfortunately, the North American version is not on here, probably because Atari handled releasing it. Hey, Hug, welcome! This guy's like John Mellencamp. I'm not getting the reference, but I like me some John Mellencamp. Great to see you here tonight. I was telling everybody what a popular game this is at the Galloping Ghost. Oh, duh. Born in a small town. Well, I wasn't born in a small town. I was born in a city of little over 20,000 people. But when I was growing up, like when I was about 3 to 8 years old, I lived in a town that I should have gotten that. I can't believe I didn't. But the town I grew up in, I should have gotten that. I feel kind of dumb that I didn't. But anyhow, so back in 1980, the town I grew up in had about 3,648 people, I think was what the census said for back then. And so that town had 2 laundromats that I can remember, and one of them had this game among others. That's the first place I can ever remember seeing this game. These monkeys and their frickin' apples, I swear. So, if anybody doesn't get the reference by my saying no monkey business tonight, I was telling everybody earlier, it's not just a reference to the fact that you're fighting monkeys in this game. It's also a reference to the Monkey Business Gang from the Kangaroo cartoon that aired from 1984 to 1985. It was part of Saturday Supercade. I was telling everybody earlier about Saturday Supercade and how it had 4 cartoons, 15 minutes long a piece every Saturday. Well, during the second season, they had a Kangaroo cartoon. I don't really remember watching it, but I do remember watching Saturday Supercade as a whole and really enjoying it. And I've watched some of the segments since then. Plus, I had the Qbert DVD, which has almost every episode, but there's a few that are missing. That's the only one that's been released on DVD, probably because it wasn't that hard to figure out who owned the rights to the cartoon. I mean, it's like an entertainment company owns the company that created Qbert, so that was a pretty easy one to release, but none of the rest of them have come out. Donkey Kong Jr., Kangaroo, Pitfall, Frogger, and even Space Ace. None of those cartoons have seen release on DVD. Only Qbert has. But that just gives you an idea how big video games were, even at that time in the midst of the crash. Because the crash started to happen in, oh geez, I should have been paying better attention. But in 1983, the crash was starting to happen, and that's the year that Saturday Supercade started. Pac-Man was already having a cartoon by that point, and it was pretty successful. Hanna-Barbera did that one, and it aired on ABC. Saturday Supercade was done by Ruby Spears and aired on CBS. But yeah, I remember watching both of those cartoons as a kid. I kind of have more of a soft spot for Saturday Supercade since, by and large, it hasn't gotten a DVD release, and Pac-Man has. I've got both seasons of the Pac-Man cartoon on DVD. If I could have afforded it, I probably would have taken... I just got home. I'll stay lurking. Need to eat. All right, Yeti. Thanks so much for stopping by. It really means a lot to me. And enjoy your meal. You've earned it. But yeah, so I have met one voice actor from the cartoon from the Pac-Man cartoon that I know of. Just finished eating. Okay, here's a little interesting piece of trivia for you. In the original Transformers cartoon of the mid-'80s, Peter. Hold on a second. I shouldn't have to take this long to think of this name, but for some reason it's not coming to me right away. It's not Peter. Dang it, I'm going to smack myself when I figure out this name. Why can I not get this name out of... The voice actor who voiced Optimus Prime, let's put it that way. So he voiced a good guy, and then Frank Welker, who, in my personal opinion, is the greatest voice actor alive today, voiced Megatron. Well, in the Pac-Man cartoon, both of them were in it. Peter Cullen! Why the heck did it take me so long to get the name Peter Cullen out of my mouth? So Peter Cullen voiced Optimus Prime, and Frank Welker voiced Megatron in Transformers. Well, they both also worked on the Pac-Man cartoon. And in the Pac-Man cartoon, Peter Cullen voiced the mischievous cat Sourpuss, and Frank Welker voiced Chomp Chomp, which was Pac-Man's dog. And he wasn't as mischievous as Sourpuss was. At least not deliberately so. Sourpuss was deliberately mischievous in that game, in that cartoon. And here's another piece of trivia for you. In the North American release of Pac-Land, Sourpuss and Chomp Chomp are... John DiMaggio is my favorite voice actor. What does he do? I mean, I feel like I should know that name, but it's not coming to me. I actually met Frank Welker at a Comic-Con last year. Super nice guy. And his first voice acting credit was voicing Fred in the original Scooby-Doo series. Today, he actually voices Scooby-Doo, Bender from Futurama. Oh, okay. I'm not as familiar with Futurama as I probably should be. Although I have met Phil Lamar, Jake from Adventure Time. I'm not familiar with Adventure Time at all. I mean, I know of it, but I've never watched it, and I don't really know what it's about. I know what the main characters look like because I've seen images of them quite often. But yeah, so in the U.S. release of the arcade game Pac-Land, which a lot of people have a lot of disdain for that game, but Chomp Chomp and Sourpuss are waiting for Pac-Man when he gets home at the end of a stage in the U.S. version of that game. In Japan, they're not there, nor have they been included in any of the ports of the arcade game. Pac-Land for the Turbo Graphics. Awesome. Yeah, there was a shop around here that had Pac-Land. I hope you enjoy that game. I honestly like it. A lot of people don't, but I do like that game. I got a little story for you about Pac-Land. I don't know if you've heard this, but a lot of the Pac-Man machines, at least some of them, are believed to be converted from. Let's see, I'm on an email wait list for a Nightmare on Elm Street. Both my plugs are sold out. Man. All right, that was just dirty. We should have had that. That's awesome. I've got Nightmare on Elm Street. That's a really tough game, especially if you're playing it one player, which I always do. Also got Legendary Axe, Adventure Island on the way. Oh boy, you're going for another Adventure Island game. You, sir, are a braver soul than I. Actually, I've been wanting to play the NES Adventure Islands again. The thing is, I never beat the first one, and I want to. Let's see. Just told Thunderfist that Chris Bean sent me. Yeah, that's such an awesome prize. I mean, it was a prize, but part of me wants to say gift. But that's such an awesome game. Mega Man X is my favorite. Is my favorite series within the Mega Man franchise as a whole. Okay, so we've lost 2 lives already, is it? Be great. Ugh. No, we've lost 3 of them. Because we've already gotten our extra life and we've lost it. Shows how much attention I was paying. So, the function of this bell, it makes more fruit come up in the same spots where it was earlier in the level. Although every time you ring the bell, higher and higher scoring fruit comes up. Yeah, I would have bought Nightmare a couple months ago. Doubled it. Gosh, it doubled in price. Holy crap. I forget what I paid for it, but it wasn't anywhere near that. I think it was like $25 tops. I bought mine at a store. Okay, so I bought mine at a store where they sell a lot of DVDs, music, and video games. It's a mostly secondhand store. But my gosh, that's a big price jump. Thank goodness I got mine when I did. I'm surprised somebody else didn't snag that one up before I did, truth be told. COVID really hit retro. Oh, yeah, I can imagine so. Because, there have been a lot of people who are saying, because people can't really do a lot of the other things they want to do, video games are what just about everybody's been turning to. Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people, and I can see it being true. I know there's one game that I really want right now for the Vita that's really high priced. It was already in the $300 range. I'm hoping it doesn't go any higher. But there's somebody who's had it listed for what seems like ages on eBay. Hopefully their copy is still Pokemon cards. Some have double and triple in price. Oh man! I know some of the Saturn games that I got for relatively cheap back around 2000 or so are just skyrocketed since then. Like Magic Knight Rayearth is a big one. And then I've also got Die Hard Arcade. I've heard that one's freaking monkeys, I swear. I forget exactly how much that's gone up to, but there's a couple of games I need to dig out of storage and get ready for the release of the Retro Freak. Yeah, Magic Knight Rayearth is one of them, and one of the other ones that really comes to mind really quick is Night Warriors, Darkstalker's Revenge. I'm scared to think how much that's going for these days. Actually, I take that back. I think I did check on that one not long ago, and it didn't. The price didn't seem terrible. Not like what I thought it would be. One of these days, I need to pick up the Darkstalkers PS2 collection. It was only released in Japan, but it seems like it's got pretty much all the Darkstalkers arcade games on it, including the re-releases, like Vampire Hunter EX, which was a re-release of Night Warriors. Because I am a big Darkstalkers fan. If it wasn't for my limited equipment, I'll tell you what, I would love to stream some Darkstalkers for Fisticuffs Friday. I still remember seeing the original Darkstalkers in the arcades and thinking how awesome the art was in it. Especially when it gets that close-up of Morrigan during the opening sequence. She's just gorgeous in that. But yeah, for anybody who wasn't here earlier, when I talked about next week's Throwback Thursday game, it's going to be the original arcade version of Tron. And then we're going to play discs of Tron the following week. I'm going to have a lot of fun with those. Because it's been a while since I've played either one. Matter of fact, I'll give you guys a little story about Discs of Tron. So we had a roller rink near where I live. They had an environmental cabinet of Discs of Tron. Most of your Discs of Tron cabinets were standard uprights. But the environmental ones, not only could you get in them and you had kind of surround sound, but they also had voiceover in them. And for some reason, they took the voiceover out of the uprights. But I believe the one that was at the skating rink was the same one that I used to play at a bowling alley on Post some years back. It was probably close to 30 years ago. It's a real shame that the voiceover has never been present in any of the instances where Discs of Tron has been re-released. Which I can think of at least 2 instances where that's been done. Alright, can you quit chucking apples for like 2 seconds? That would be great. Alright, let's get out of here, Joey. Cheeky Monkey is right. So, anyhow. Yeah, seeing that environmental Discs of Tron, I haven't seen one since then. Be great to see another one someday. Maybe Galloping Ghost Arcade would get one sometime. I'm sure Doc would like to have one of those. Although at this point, he's probably happy with the upright that he has because he's got a lot of really large machines. So I did my interview for Twitch for the second gift card today. Cool, man! That's awesome that you got to do that again. If I ever get asked to do something like that, I'm definitely up for it. This has been, finding out that I at least had equipment to stream somewhat has been one of the best things to happen this year. No joke. Even before COVID, I was really bummed that in the last couple of years I haven't been able to act on stage anymore. And thanks to Twitch, I'm not all that salty about it anymore. It's in fact, I've said that if I had a chance to go back to stage, I might not do it. Because in order to do that, I would have to give up what I'm doing here, and I would not want to do that. I'm enjoying this. Yeah, it's just, it took me so long to get started because I didn't think I had the proper equipment, and I didn't realize that that the PS4 and the Xbox One can stream. Where the heck did that word come from? Get out of my head, Freud. I don't need any more of your slips going around. Yeah, I love Twitch, Matt. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate a little on this level right now, but we'll be through it soon enough. And then we can go back to chat. Met so many good friends since started 2 years ago. Yeah, that's been the case with me too. The first channel I ever followed was Galloping Ghost Arcade's channel. They stream their Monday mystery games every Monday. And you know, just from there, I met so many great retro streamers. Like the first retro streamer I ever started following was Aaron Plays, and it wasn't too long after that that Yeti stream popped up in my recommended, and that's a click I have never ever regretted. Never could, to truth be told. You know, the community there, I mean, not only is it an awesome community to be a part of, but I mean, everybody there has done so much to help my channel grow, and I could never be more grateful for that. First retro streamer I followed was Arcus. Ah, okay. Yeah, I've visited his channel a couple of times. Yeti is what brought me over from Facebook gaming. Ah, that's very cool. We have the best community. Everyone is friendly and actually talks to each other. Yes, I love that. I love that about your community. And you've all been really good to me in my own streaming endeavors, and I just could never express how much it means to me. So we lost our gloves, but it's immaterial. Because we got Joey and we got the heck out of Dodge. Speaking of Dodge, we're going to have to do a lot of that to get through here. While we're knocking monkeys to Kingdom Come. I don't think so, pal. You beat that game last night. Yeah, I was unfortunately unable to stay until the end of the stream. I was really anxious to see how that ended up myself. Okay, yeah, we're gonna get this. So we're at 27,300. Nope, we will be back at it tomorrow. We're staying it tomorrow. Awesome, that's great to hear. I'll definitely stop by. It's like I've won CC Double Dragon before, and that's what the Fisticuffs Fridays game is going to be. I'm gonna try doing a few different challenges for it, like beating it without weapons. No, but Catman got a bonus cat cameo. Ah, cat cameos. You know we love the baby kitty. Even when he's saying, stop rubbing the smudge. I don't like it. It seems like just about everything else. He reminds me a lot of Charles, which is Smooth McGroove's cat. If you've never watched Smooth McGroove, he's a YouTube personality who does a cappella video game music. And one of the big highlights of his channel is he has a cat named Charles who always makes an appearance. And people have told him that he has the most docile cat on the planet because he could be doing this with Charles' paws, and Charles just does not give a crap. Charles will just sit there and start licking Smooth's fingers as he's doing that. But yeah, when I first saw a cappella game music, I wasn't sure what to think, but my gosh, he's awesome at it. All sad when he was let's see, when he was all sold out on cat cameo. So I asked Yeti, and he decided to use a bonus cat cameo. Yep, we love the cat cameos. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to think of things like that to do when and if I reach affiliate. I've still got to get that viewership of 3 before that can happen. But I've got some ideas of things I'd like to do. But we'll see what happens when and if it gets to that point. I've already got an idea for badges, and it's going to harken back to my favorite rock band of all time, which is Journey. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Jay Budd. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm thinking for badges, we're gonna use the faces of the members of Journey from the Journey arcade game. If you're unfamiliar with that, trying for affiliate. I really hope this doesn't sound greedy, but that is kind of a goal of mine. And it really means a lot how much you've done already to help me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for that. But yeah, if anybody is unfamiliar with the Journey arcade game, here's another little bit of trivia. Midway was behind that game, and they used a camera to get black and white digitizations of the band members' faces, and I'm wanting to use those as the sub badges. Love the baby kitty. Yeah, he really is. Makes me think of the 2 cats that I had years ago, which unfortunately both of them had to be put down. Yoshi in 2009, Melina in 2012. Yoshi at that time was just about to turn 16, and Melina was pushing 18. So they both lived good, long lives. And as you probably figured, I named them both for video game characters. Yoshi for the dinosaur from the Mario games. Melina for the female purple ninja from Mortal Kombat. Oh, man, that means so much to me, Yeti. Thank you so much. But yeah, so basically what we're doing in the channel these days, since we beat Battletoads, we moved on to another main game, and that game is East. Let me think what the full title of it is. Memories of Salsetta, that's what it is. So we've been playing that on Wednesdays and Sundays, and The baby kitty is a star for sure. Be 30. Oh. Hold up. Did I hear those cats' names right? Yes, you did. Yoshi and Melina. Got my current cat for my 18th birthday. Oh, wow. So your cat's about 20 years old. That's a great long life. Props on that. But yeah, Yoshi just got to the point where he wasn't eating anymore, and the main thing, it's like if you gave him like wet cat food, he would lick up the juice, but he wasn't eating anymore, and he lost so much weight. Ah, you certainly do. My mother at one point became a crazy cat lady. She had 4 of them. I think she's got 2 right now, but she lives up in Canada. But yeah, she got 1 cat, and I named that one Kara. The name should have been Kara because I named her after the princess from Illusion of Gaia. So yeah, we've had 3 cats that all had video game related names. Not sure what name I'd give to one nowadays. Hey, Christy Kitty, great to see you. How's it going tonight? Welcome to the stream. This game is a rather cute one. I can't see too many people seeing this game in action and thinking, I just don't think this game's gonna be my cup of tea. If you're a fan of Donkey Kong, this game definitely will be your cup of tea. All right, my apologies there. My system was telling me that a game is now ready to be played. So this animation right here of the kangaroo knocking the apple core back, it doesn't look like you can actually do that in the game. It's just something they did for entertainment purposes, like when they throw a monkey onto the screen and the kangaroo knocks it back. Doing good. That's great to hear. So for those who haven't seen it yet, yeah, that's what the mama kangaroo does when she has no gloves. She just sticks her paw out and has a white flag in her paw. Because unless she's got her gloves on, she can't attack. But yeah, I have so many fond memories playing this game, and it's kind of a shame. I don't think the U.S. version that Atari released has music in the game, or at least not during the stages. I know the more recent cabinets I've played of it don't have the music during the stages. Let me make one request. Can I hear your 1990s X-Men Wolverine voice? You got it, bub. What's the matter, Creed? Daddy's boy doesn't like claws. I think I'm starting to lose it a little bit here, but you know, maybe my vocals are giving way a little bit, but that was one I was kind of amused early on when I found out I could do it. I'll say, I was minding my own business when that filthy mutant bumped into me. Excuse me, he said. I excused him, right in his face. I like your style, Mr. Logan. You did a good one before of the Beauty of the Beast episode. Yeah, that's honestly one of my favorite episodes of that cartoon. You said there's a DVD set of it. Am I hearing that correctly? Because I know you said you kind of binge watched it, and it sounded like you had watched it on a DVD set. If there's one out there, I have got to pick that up. And I'll tell you another cartoon. Mine too. But yeah, there's a couple of other cartoons that I've... Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, heck, that warrants subscribing right there. That cartoon's an absolute classic. No, I don't think so. Yeah, it did. I just had to think there, because, I mean, that was a Fox product, but, you know, Disney owns Marvel. So it makes every bit of sense in the world that it would be on their service. I've been watching it too. Yeah, that's definitely something I would be watching if I subscribed. There's another. That's a community announcement that I just got. Apologies there. I was sad when I realized there's so few episodes of Tailspin. Grew up watching the '90s X-Men. Yeah, I'm trying to think how many Disney cartoon voice actors I've met. I've met Jim Cummings, who was the voice of Darkwing Duck. That's a voice that I'm afraid I don't think I can do. I would have to at least listen to it a lot in order to figure out if I can do it or not. DuckTales, woo! That one's a classic. And so is the game that was made after it. You know, that's something else I would like to do for a Throwback Thursday sometime, is stream the Disney Afternoon Collection for the PS4. That's got DuckTales 1 and 2, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers 1 and 2, Tailspin, and Darkwing Duck. Let's see. Did they skimp the Tailspins? Yeah, I heard all these nasty rumors about Jim Cummings sometime like a year or two ago, but it looks like those may have just been maybe just nasty rumors. I hope so, because Jim Cummings seemed like a great guy when I met him. And then I met another guy named Brian Cummings, who is no relation. They just happen to have the same last name. But Brian Cummings, it turns out, I think he voiced the character Bumblelion in another Disney cartoon. I gotta know, does anybody know if the Wuzzles is on Disney Plus? Because if it is, I will be all over that. That's a cartoon that came out in '86, and it was all about these animals that were basically these creatures that were like two animals put together. Like Bumblelion was a cross between a lion and a bee, and the main villain in that series was an alligator who was voiced by Alan Oppenheimer, who we He-Man fans know as the voice of Skeletor in the original He-Man series. I've met the voice of Skeletor. I met Alan Oppenheimer, and then met Cam Clark, who voiced He-Man in the 2002 He-Man series. Unfortunately, I found out that the original voice of He-Man, John Irwin, does not make appearances. When I met Melindy Britt, that's her name, who voiced... that's a voice I'm not sure I can do. Oh, here's another voice. I got to do this one for you. You guys remember Thundercats, right? I'm going to give you guys my Lion-O impression if you want to hear it. Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight. That one was kind of amusing when I found out I could do that one. That's a cartoon I should be more familiar with than I am. All right, can you guys stop with the freaking machine gun apple throwing? I'd like to at least have a chance of getting Joey out of here. My gosh. Okay, so who do you like better between Skeletor and Hordak? Skeletor actually seems like he's got a little bit of a conscience, or at least he did in the Christmas episode. Hordak's never been shown to have a conscience. Look at that! So many apples just all over the screen. Do you realize how many starving people there are in the world, and you're just sitting there wasting apples trying to kill a mama kangaroo? What is wrong with you monkey brains? Gosh! I swear. Yeah, I could see that too. And plus, I respect Skeletor a little more because he actually did something good in the Christmas episode. I have every single He-Man episode, by the way, on DVD. From the original series to She-Ra. I have all the She-Ra episodes. And also, oh gosh. I have all the Brave Star episodes too, if anybody remembers Brave Star. You know, I honestly thought about as a stream sometime. I honestly thought about doing a cartoon day using cartoons that are in the public domain, like some of the Popeye cartoons. Unfortunately, they're so short, and there's not many out there that are public domain. The Mojo X-Men episode and the Gambit episode with the thieves. I don't think I've seen those. But I will be all over the X-Men cartoon whenever I get Disney Plus. At this point, it's not a matter of if, but when. No. Stop it. 300 away. Ha ha! We did it! 40,000, baby! Woohoo! Finally reached 40,000. I'm so happy about that. I wonder what place we've got on the scoreboard with a score like that. Yeah, the main episode that I do remember from the X-Men cartoon. Oh, they don't have Wuzzles? Oh my gosh. That makes me sad. Let's see. Thank you, Christy. I appreciate it. No regrets. Yeah, that looks like it's going to be money well spent. And the only other streaming service I'm probably going to subscribe to is going to be Netflix for Cobra Kai. I am a big Karate Kid fan, and I've met Ralph Macchio, William Zabka, and Martin Kove, who played Daniel, Johnny, and Kreese, respectively. Well, folks, we're a little over 2.5 hours in. I think that's a good point to call it a night. I mean, we got our 50,000 points, or not 50,000, 40,000. Looks like Hungry Garaya's on, and she's still working on Punch-Out. What do you say we raid her? Let's see. Get Disney Plus for free until December. That's cool. Okay, folks, I think we're going to go ahead and give Hungry Garaya a raid. Thank you, everybody who came and hung out tonight. I said Freudian slip. Oh, my gosh. So, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and hanging out. So tomorrow we're going to be working on the arcade version of Double Dragon. Thank you to everybody for what has probably been my favorite stream so far. Good night, J-Butt. Good night, everybody. For now, this is Thunderfist 1978, signing off.